What if the most breathtaking part of your summer garden isn't something bought, but something reborn? What if dead branches, discarded bottles, driftwood scraps, and forgotten metal pieces could transform into living sculptures that turn an ordinary backyard into a magical summer sanctuary? Today, you're about to see how simple, abandoned materials, pieces that most people throw away, can become vibrant, enchanting creations that shape a garden full of character, warmth, and wonder. From rainbow-painted obelisks and mossy cradle planters to woven willow fences and solar-lit deadwood sculptures, every idea in this video proves that summer beauty can grow from the most unexpected places. This is where imagination meets nature, and where waste becomes wonder. Here, we transform overlooked materials, everyday scraps, and natural leftovers into meaningful art for your backyard, cottage garden, or outdoor sanctuary. In this video, we're exploring 15 summer upcycle garden creations, a full collection of ideas crafted from dead wood, twigs, driftwood, recycled bottles, willow branches, scrap metal, and natural moss. Each project blends rustic charm with French, English garden aesthetics, turning forgotten objects into functional, realistic, and visually captivating garden pieces. Maybe to you, I'm just another creator on your screen. But behind every project in this channel is real soil under real hands, and a genuine love for building something meaningful out of almost nothing. These ideas aren't just content, they're pieces of a journey. Every like, every comment, every subscription helps this little corner of the internet stay alive. When you support this channel, you aren't just boosting numbers. You're helping an independent creator keep experimenting, keep imagining, and keep turning waste into wonder. Thank you for choosing to spend your time here. Thank you for choosing to create with us. On a warm summer morning in a quiet American backyard, the air carries a soft sweetness, half wildflower, half ripened tomato vines. This garden belongs to no one and to everyone at once. It is a place where nature and imagination meet gently in the middle. At the heart of this peaceful landscape stands a handmade enchanted gateway, formed from twisted dry branches collected lovingly over seasons. You might not notice it at first, the way the branches curve as if they grew specifically to cradle the arch, or the way sunlight settles between the small gaps, casting dancing patterns on the path below. But once you walk closer, something inside you lifts, almost the way a child feels when stepping into a storybook. The creator of this gateway didn't begin with a plan. They simply gathered branches with interesting curves, brushing off the dust and painting some tips with soft pastel colors. A touch of mint green here, a warm yellow there. With time, flowering summer vines, clematis, morning glories, and a few adventurous wild roses, found their way upward, weaving themselves around every bend. Small lanterns, hanging gently from twine, sway each time a breeze drifts by. They glow in the evening, warm and steady, like little fairy hearts lighting the way. This gateway doesn't lead to a grand palace, nor does it mark the entrance to a secret kingdom. Instead, it opens into a simple path lined with vegetable beds, tomatoes growing heavy on their stems, peppers turning glossy red, strawberries peeking beneath leaves. Yet somehow, passing under the arch makes the garden feel different. Softer. More alive. As if the world slows down just long enough for your breath to match the rhythm of the rustling branches. Some visitors say the gateway makes them smile without knowing why. Others pause beneath it, letting the lantern vines frame the sky above. But the magic, perhaps, is not in the object itself. It is in the reminder that beauty doesn't always have to be expensive or perfect. Sometimes, it grows from fallen branches, reclaimed twine, and flowers that choose to climb toward the sun. And in that gentle moment, standing beneath a handmade archway in the golden light of summer, you might remember how it feels to create something simple, honest, and quietly enchanting. There is something enchanting about objects created from materials nature has already forgotten. A fallen branch, a twisted piece of dead wood, a patch of moss waiting quietly on the forest floor, each one holds a story of its own. In a peaceful American backyard where summer settles softly across the grass, a small tower stands among the flowers. It is not tall in a grand way, nor polished like something carved by a master's hand. Yet it carries a charm that feels alive, as if it holds tiny secrets whispered by the wind. The fairy tower began with a single branch, gnarled, unusual, and curving like it wanted to dance. The creator picked it up not because it was beautiful, but because it had a shape that sparked curiosity. More branches were gathered, each twisted differently. Some bent like crescents, others forked like lightning. Slowly, with patience and imagination, these pieces were stacked and fitted together until they formed a tower that looked both ancient and playful. Colored moss in shades of pastel pink, mint, sky blue, and warm yellow was tucked into crevices, softening the rugged texture of the wood. It was like adding laughter to an old story. Mini planters, tiny clay pots no bigger than a child's palm, were attached at different heights. Inside them grew succulents, tiny daisies, and herbs with fragrant leaves. These little pockets of life made the tower feel inhabited, as if unseen fairy gardeners cared for it at night. In the afternoon sun, the moss glowed faintly, and the small plants cast shadows against the wood. Birds often perched on the highest branch, tilting their heads as if inspecting the craftsmanship. Visitors sometimes stop in front of the tower, drawn not by its size, but by its gentle personality. It looks like something that simply belongs in a dreamy garden, a reminder that beauty doesn't need perfection. It needs intention, kindness, and a spark of imagination. And as the summer breeze moves through the backyard, the fairy tower stands quietly among tomatoes, roses, and berry bushes, holding its place like a humble guardian of forgotten things made lovely again. In the heart of a wide summer backyard, where warm sunlight settles on rows of vegetables and the air carries the scent of ripening tomatoes, stands a handmade tower that looks as though it was lifted from a cheerful dream. The rainbow branch obelisk didn't begin with a grand idea, only with fallen branches gathered after a windy spring night. Each branch was different, some smooth, some twisted, some shaped with tiny bends that gave them personality. They were the kind of branches most people would overlook, but not here. Not in a garden that celebrates transformation. The creator cleaned each branch carefully, brushing away dust and old bark. Then came the paint, soft pastel colors first, then gentle strokes of brighter hues. Pink fading into peach, mint blending into turquoise, a whisper of lavender trailing into sunny yellow. The branches were bound together into a tall obelisk, sturdy yet full of playful curves. It stood proudly in the vegetable bed, ready to become a living sculpture. As summer settled in, the vines began their slow climb. Cherry tomatoes wrapped their way up the painted wood, scattering tiny yellow blossoms that later transformed into bright red fruit. Runner beans curled gracefully in spirals, finding their way without hesitation. Nasturtiums added bold splashes of orange and red, their round leaves catching drops of morning dew. Over time, the obelisk became more than a support structure, it became a fountain of life, color, and movement. Throughout the day, the obelisk changes with the light. In the morning, the pastel paint glows softly under the sun's first touch. By afternoon, the bright colors flare against the deep green leaves. And at sunset, golden light settles between the branches, making the tower appear almost magical, as if it quietly hums with joy. Visitors often pause in front of it, smiling without realizing why. Maybe it's the colors, or the way vines embrace each painted line. Maybe it's the gentle reminder that beauty can grow from broken things, branches once forgotten now helping vegetables climb toward the sky. The rainbow branch obelisk stands as a symbol of simple creativity, proof that even the humblest materials can bloom into something extraordinary. In a quiet corner of a sunlit backyard, where summer warmth lingers gently on the leaves, sits an antique driftwood bench unlike anything found in a store. It looks as though it once belonged to a small coastal village, shaped by tides and time, before finding a new purpose in a peaceful garden. Each piece of driftwood used to craft the backrest carries its own history, soft curves from years of waves, textures smoothed by sand, tiny patterns etched by nature itself. When the creator found the driftwood pieces, they were simply fragments of forgotten shores. But something in their shapes spoke of possibility. The branches were cleaned, brushed, and carved delicately by hand, revealing hidden lines that flowed like water. Soft pastel colors, pale blue, rose pink, and moss green, were added in gentle strokes, just enough to highlight the natural curves without overpowering them. The result was a backrest that looked both ancient and alive, as if it held stories whispered by the sea. Placed beneath the shade of climbing roses, the bench became an oasis of stillness. In the morning, soft light settled on the carvings, tracing their contours with a golden glow. In the afternoon, the bench cast delicate shadows across the garden path, forming patterns that danced with the breeze. Birds often perched on the highest carved branch, chirping as though greeting the bench itself. Garden visitors felt drawn to it, not simply for sitting, but for pausing, letting their thoughts rest as their eyes followed the carved shapes. Many said it felt like sitting inside a memory, or like opening a gate to a quieter world. Children traced the carvings with their fingers, imagining stories of mermaids, forest spirits, and drifting islands. Over time, herbs grew nearby, tomatoes ripened on their vines, and roses bloomed above, but the driftwood bench remained the garden's gentle soul. It reminded everyone who visited that beauty often comes from things once forgotten, pieces of the world shaped by time, reclaimed with love, and given a second life in a place where sunlight and imagination meet. In the warm embrace of a summer backyard, where sunlight dances between leaves and the air hums with gentle life, a small water feature brings a quiet sense of wonder. It is not a grand fountain or a polished stone sculpture, it is something far more intimate, a cascading spillway made entirely from branches gathered with care. At first glance, it looks like a natural stream that simply decided to appear in the garden, finding its way down from the curves of old wood. The creator began by choosing branches with shapes that seemed to flow even before water touched them. Some were bent gracefully, others had hollow curves that could cradle small streams. They were arranged into tiers, each layer guiding the water downward like a tiny waterfall staircase. Soft patches of moss, some naturally green, some gently painted in pastel shades, were nestled into crevices, giving the structure the appearance of an ancient woodland relic reborn in the sun. As water began to move through the branches, everything changed. The garden took on a new dimension. Light reflected off the ripples, creating shimmering patterns on nearby leaves. The trickle of water blended with the rustle of summer breeze, forming a sound that felt both calming and alive. Birds visited often, dipping their beaks into the pond below, while curious butterflies hovered, drawn by the shimmering glow. Around the spillway, the garden thrived. Tomatoes ripened on nearby vines, strawberries peeked beneath their green umbrellas, and fragrant herbs spread their scent across the pathway. Yet it was the branch cascade that drew people close. Visitors would pause, leaning in to watch how water slid over each imperfect piece of wood. It felt like discovering a secret, one that whispered the beauty of things shaped slowly by time, then brought back to life through imagination. In the golden hours of sunset, the water glowed softly, turning the backyard into a sanctuary. The cascading branch spillway didn't just decorate the garden, it awakened something gentle within it. A reminder that tranquility can come from the simplest materials, fallen branches, patient hands, and water that chooses its own path. There is a place in the backyard where sunlight feels softer, as if the day itself pauses to breathe. It rests beneath a handmade pergola canopy, one crafted not from perfect beams or polished lumber, but from branches gathered with love and arranged into a delicate lattice overhead. Each branch curves naturally, some slightly twisted, some straight, forming a canopy that filters light the way tree leaves do in a quiet forest. But what makes this pergola magical are the details woven into it. Wildflowers tuck themselves between the branches, tiny blooms of chamomile, cornflowers, and wild daisies. Their colors look like whispers of summer held gently in place. Pastel ribbons float from the canopy, shifting softly whenever the breeze brushes past. Pink, mint, lilac, cream, each ribbon adds a sense of movement, making the pergola feel alive, as though it has its own gentle heartbeat. The creator didn't intend for it to be perfect. They let the natural curves of each branch guide the design. Some gaps allowed sunlight to pour in freely, creating playful spots of warmth on the grass below. Other areas formed pockets of shade where herbs and small potted flowers could rest comfortably. Over time, climbing plants, morning glories, sweet peas, and even a wandering rose began to wind their way upward, adding softness and new life to the canopy. During the day, the pergola becomes a living room without walls. A place to rest after watering the tomatoes, a place to sip iced tea, a place to watch bees drift between blossoms. Children sit beneath it, tracing the shadows of ribbons dancing on their hands. In the evening, as golden light filters through, the ribbons glow faintly, and the wildflowers seem to hum with the warmth of the setting sun. At night, it transforms again. The breeze grows cooler, the ribbons sway more slowly, and the space feels almost enchanted. The simple branch pergola, built from leftover materials and bits of nature, becomes a sanctuary. A reminder that beauty often comes from intention, not perfection. A place where anyone can sit, breathe, and remember what summer feels like when life is allowed to be soft. In the quiet rhythm of a summer morning, when the sun rises gently over a wide backyard filled with blooming flowers and ripening vegetables, there is a small corner where magic seems to collect. It is a place where nature and imagination meet, marked by a series of mossy hollow branch cradle planters resting beneath the shade of berry bushes. These planters, though humble in size, hold a charm that feels almost alive. The branches used to create them were once fallen pieces of old trees, forgotten on the woodland floor. Their natural curves and hollows inspired the creator, who gently carved and cleaned them, revealing shapes that looked like cradles waiting to hold life. Moss was tucked inside, soft and bright, forming a cushion of green that contrasted beautifully with the wood's earthy tones. The moss wasn't just decoration, it acted as a living blanket, keeping moisture and nurturing the plants within. Into these cradles, tiny succulents were placed first, each one unique, some with rosettes like little stars, others with thick leaves glowing in the morning sun. Strawberries came next, their vines gently spilling over the branch edges, tiny white flowers promising fruit that would soon blush red. Dewdrops often gathered on their leaves, catching light like small scattered jewels. As the day unfolded, the cradle planters seemed to change gently with the drifting sun. In the morning, soft light warmed the moss. By afternoon, shadows from climbing roses played across the branches. Birds visited, curious about the bright strawberries, while butterflies danced above the succulents. Each planter looked like a miniature world, a fairy garden tucked inside natural wood. Visitors often found themselves leaning closer, drawn by the smallness of the detail. Something about the combination of moss, wood, and fruit stirred a childlike wonder. It reminded them that beauty doesn't always stand tall, sometimes it rests quietly inside the curve of an old branch. Over time, the mossy cradle planters became a symbol in the garden, an ode to gentle creativity and the simple joy of turning nature's leftovers into something nurturing. In a world that moves too quickly, these tiny cradles offered a moment to slow down and breathe. In the heart of a summer garden, where vegetables ripen quietly and flowers sway gently in the warm breeze, there stands a woven willow fence that seems to blend seamlessly into the rhythm of the landscape. It is not imposing or grand, but rather soft and natural, like something the garden grew on its own. The fence began as a simple idea, to create a boundary without breaking the harmony of the space. Yet it evolved into something far more charming. The creator gathered supple willow branches, each one unique in curve and color. Some were smooth and honey-toned, others darker with textured bark. They were woven together patiently, the pattern growing row by row, the branches bending in graceful arcs. The weave took shape like a gentle river, flowing from stake to stake. When the fence stood tall and sturdy, the creator added a small touch of whimsy, caps at the top of each stake painted in pastel colors. Soft pink, mint green, pale yellow, light lavender. Simple colors, but enough to make the fence feel dressed for summer. Placed along the edge of a vegetable bed, the willow fence became more than a divider. It offered support to wandering herbs, guided tomato vines, and created a sense of quiet structure in the garden. Wildflowers began to grow at its base, daisies, chamomile, small blue cornflowers, softening the border even more. In the morning, sunlight wove between the branches just as delicately as the willow itself. In the evening, golden rays cast warm shadows that danced across the soil and petals. Visitors often commented on the natural beauty of the fence. Some thought it looked like a piece of countryside art, others saw it as a reminder of simple, meaningful craftsmanship. Children liked to run their fingers across the woven pattern, feeling the smooth curves and subtle bumps. Gardeners found comfort in its quiet practicality, strong enough to support plants, but gentle enough to look timeless. The modular willow fence became a part of the garden story, shaping the way people walked, worked, and rested within the space. It whispered that beauty and function could exist together, woven from the ordinary into something quietly extraordinary. On a bright summer afternoon, when the sunlight falls gently across the garden like scattered gold, a shimmering border of branches and colorful glass bottles brings unexpected magic to the landscape. It began as an experiment, an attempt to repurpose leftover bottles and fallen branches into something useful. But as the project took shape, it became something far more enchanting. The creator selected branches that were short, sturdy, and full of character. Some were slightly twisted, others smooth with gentle curves. They were placed upright in the soil, forming a natural row that looked like a soft wooden fence. Then came the bottles, glass pieces gathered over time, each with its own story. Turquoise bottles from old soda drinks, soft pink ones discovered at a flea market, deep green bottles rescued from recycling piles, amber ones that used to hold homemade syrup. Each bottle was washed, polished, and placed carefully atop the branches. When the first rays of sun passed through them, everything changed. Light refracted through the glass, creating tiny patches of rainbow on the ground. The garden suddenly shimmered. Butterflies fluttered closer, perhaps fooled by the dancing reflections. Bees paused on nearby flowers as if admiring the colorful glow. Even the vegetables seemed to lean toward the border, their leaves catching the warm reflections. Throughout the day, the bottle border became a living display. In the morning, the light was soft and pastel, like watercolor brushed across the soil. By noon, the colors grew sharper, sparkling like little jewels hidden in the garden. And at sunset, the amber and rose-tinted bottles glowed warmly, casting a gentle amber hue across the pathway. People who walked through the garden often slowed down without realizing why. Some reached for their cameras, others simply stood still, letting the shifting colors wash over them. It reminded them of childhood treasures, marbles held against sunlight, stained glass windows in old village homes, jars filled with fireflies. This branch and bottle border wasn't created to impress. It wasn't expensive, nor was it complicated. But it carried a certain magic, a reminder that joy can come from the simplest materials, especially when sunlight chooses to play along. In the warm light of a summer morning, the garden wakes slowly, dew on the leaves, birds singing softly from the fence, and a gentle breeze carrying the scent of basil and ripening tomatoes. In the middle of this peaceful rhythm stands something small but full of purpose, a mini greenhouse dome made entirely from bending twigs. It arches gracefully over a raised vegetable bed, offering shelter to the tender seedlings beneath it. The dome began with a handful of thin, flexible branches gathered after a spring pruning. Some were willow, some from young fruit trees. The creator bent them carefully, arching them into ribs that met at the top like a tiny cathedral. Each twig held its curve with ease, revealing the natural shape it had been waiting to express. A soft garden mesh was draped across the frame, protecting seedlings from harsh midday sun, curious birds, and wandering insects without blocking the breeze or the gentle morning light. Inside the dome, life thrived quietly. Young tomatoes stretched upward, their stems still tender but determined. Basil leaves unfurled with a sweet aroma that drifted each time the wind moved the mesh. Tiny pepper seedlings stood like hopeful little soldiers, ready to grow strong in the warmth of the summer soil. The dome didn't just protect them, it created a world where they could grow without hurry. As the day progressed, sunlight filtered through the mesh in soft patterns, creating lace-like shadows on the soil. In the afternoon, the dome offered shade from the hot sun. In the evening, the structure glowed warmly as golden light traced the curves of each twig. Butterflies often landed on the mesh, curious about the tiny world inside. Bees hummed nearby, visiting marigolds planted around the bed to attract pollinators. Garden visitors always paused here. Something about the dome felt gentle, almost nurturing, like a cradle made for plants. It stood as a reminder that gardening isn't only about growing food, it is about creating spaces where life is cared for tenderly, where the smallest seedlings receive as much love as the grandest flowers. The twig dome, humble and handmade, became a symbol of intention, patience, and quiet creativity. A simple structure, yet full of meaning, protecting, shading, and nurturing new life beneath the warmth of summer. In the heart of the summer garden, where sunlight softens as it passes through climbing roses and where warm breezes rustle through ripening leaves, there stands a sculpture born not from polished hands but from nature's own artistry. A tower of deadwood, branches twisted by time, curved by seasons, shaped by wind, has been assembled into a piece that feels ancient yet alive. At its base, small solar uplights glow gently as the day fades, turning the sculpture into an enchanting silhouette against the evening sky. The creator didn't begin with a design. Instead, they let the branches speak. Some were gnarled, some smooth, some curved like question marks. One by one, they were fitted together, not forced, but guided, the way driftwood fits itself into patterns on the shore. When the structure finally stood, it carried a quiet elegance, a sense of having grown there naturally, rooted in imagination rather than soil. During the day, the sculpture blends beautifully into the garden. Bees land on its surfaces as if mistaking it for an old tree. Birds perch on its tallest points, surveying the vegetable beds below. Sunlight highlights its textures, the ridges, the knots, the places where time has carved its story. Around it, tomatoes ripen, herbs release their fragrance, strawberries glow red beneath their leaves. But it is at dusk when the sculpture reveals its deepest charm. As the sun dips low, the small solar uplights awaken, sending gentle beams upward. The branches catch the light, creating dramatic shadows that stretch across the garden. What once looked like simple deadwood becomes something mystical, almost a guardian of the backyard. Some evenings, golden light dances along its curves. Other nights, it glows silver beneath the moon. Visitors always pause here. Some say it feels like a piece of forest magic transplanted into the garden. Others see it as a symbol of resilience, old wood finding new purpose. Children imagine it as a portal, a fairy tower, or the rib bones of a gentle forest creature resting peacefully among the flowers. In the quiet moments of summer evenings, when the garden hums softly and everything feels suspended in warm twilight, the deadwood sculpture stands as a reminder, even what seems lifeless can become a source of beauty, light, and wonder. In the soft warmth of a summer afternoon, when sunlight filters through the garden like honey and the breeze carries the faint scent of strawberries, a whimsical creation sways gently above a quiet corner of the backyard. Suspended from a sturdy tree branch is a fairy-like hanging carousel made of rope and natural twigs, an enchanting piece that moves with the rhythm of the summer wind. The creator began with the simplest materials, fallen branches chosen for their curves, a bundle of natural rope, and small clay pots waiting to hold tiny bursts of life. The branches were shaped into a loose circle, tied carefully until the form grew sturdy but still looked wild, as if woven by forest hands. From this wooden halo, ropes were tied at varying lengths, each holding a small planter filled with succulents, wildflowers, or dangling strawberry vines. When assembled, the carousel looked like a floating garden, light, airy, and full of quiet joy. As the breeze brushed past, the pots swayed gently, creating soft motion that made the whole structure feel alive. Strawberries dangled in the warm light, their red skins glowing like summer jewels. Trailing vines danced delicately, catching sparkles of sun as they moved. Bees drifted by, curious about the flowers planted in the tiny pots, while butterflies often hovered near the carousel's rotating shadows. Throughout the day, the plant carousel changed its expression. In the morning, dewdrops clung to the clay pots and ropes, glistening like tiny beads. At midday, bright sunlight cast playful shadows across the ground, turning the spinning pots into circling patterns. And at sunset, the carousel became a silhouette framed in gold, each pot glowing with warm color as though lit from within. Visitors to the garden often paused beneath it. Some whispered that it reminded them of childhood, of wind chimes, mobiles, or magical tree swings. Others admired the way simple materials could become something so poetic. In truth, the charm of the carousel came not from its complexity, but from its softness, a reminder that creativity thrives in gentle, humble acts. The rope and branch hanging carousel stood there like a floating whisper of summer. A blending of motion, nature, and imagination, quietly spinning stories in the warm air. In the quiet heart of a summer backyard, where the scent of basil floats on warm breezes and bees hum softly over blooming flowers, a vertical branch-living wall rises like a gentle tapestry of life. It stands against a fence, yet it feels alive, pulling the garden upward, weaving nature into a piece of art that grows richer every day. The wall began with a simple idea: to use fallen branches collected after spring storms. Each branch had a different story carved into its grain, some rough, some smooth, some curved like a question mark. The creator tied them together into a vertical frame, letting the natural shapes form a pattern rather than forcing them into alignment. The result was a structure that looked wild yet intentional, rustic yet elegant. Small terracotta pots were then nestled into the openings of the frame. Into these tiny homes went an array of life: trailing thyme, cascading nasturtiums, creeping mint, and bright blossoms that spilled gently over the edges. Strawberries hung like tiny jewels, their red skins glowing in the summer sun. Flowers bloomed in soft oranges, vivid yellows, and tender whites, creating a living tapestry that changed with every passing day. In the morning, the wall glowed softly as light filtered through the leaves, creating lace-like shadows along the ground. Dew gathered on the herbs, sparkling before the warmth dried them away. By noon, the herbs released their fragrances, mint cooling the air, basil sweetening it, sage adding its quiet earthiness. Butterflies often danced around the blossoms, drifting between the small pockets of color. Visitors always paused before the living wall. Some traced the branches with their eyes, admiring how naturally they fit together. Others leaned in to breathe the scent of fresh herbs. Children liked to look for strawberries hiding beneath the leaves. As the sun set, golden light slid between the branches, giving the wall a warm glow as though it held its own quiet fire. In that gentle hour, the living wall felt like a bridge between nature and human hands, a reminder that beauty thrives when both meet softly. It is more than decoration. It is a celebration of growth, patience, and the simple joy of creating something alive from things once forgotten. In the middle of a summer garden, where flowers bloom in every shade of warmth and the wind carries the soft hum of bees, stands a branch arch transformed into a beloved photo spot. Its structure is simple, branches gathered after thoughtful pruning, each one curved or twisted in its own natural rhythm. But when they are woven together, they form a graceful arch that feels like the beginning of a story. The creator draped the arch in seasonal flower swags, choosing blossoms that matched the softness of summer. Roses with velvety petals, delicate sweet peas, tiny clusters of daisies, and playful tendrils of trailing vines. The flowers were arranged in a way that felt effortless, as though they had bloomed directly from the wood. Colors spilled across the branches, pinks, creams, golds, lavender, creating a dreamy palette that softened the entire garden. Throughout the day, the arch transformed with the light. In the morning, dew clung to the petals, turning the flowers into tiny mirrors of the rising sun. By midday, the arch cast gentle shadows on the path below, inviting visitors to walk through or pause for a moment. And at sunset, the blooms glowed warmly, turning the arch into a golden gateway perfect for photographs, framed by nature itself. People who visited the garden were always drawn to the arch. Some stood beneath it to feel the shade of flowers overhead. Others took photos with their loved ones, smiling naturally under the arch's gentle beauty. Children loved running under it, pretending it was a magical entrance to a secret world where animals talked and flowers whispered. But the arch was more than a photo spot. It was a reminder of the garden's quiet magic, the way simple branches could be reborn as something beautiful, the way flowers could paint emotions into the air, the way sunlight could make even the smallest petal glow like a little treasure. As summer continued, the arch grew fuller with each week, blossoms changing and vines lengthening. And every day, it held space for moments, small, tender, unforgettable. A frame for memories in the softness of the season. In the very center of the summer garden, where bright sunlight spills generously across the soil and flowers unfurl in full color, stands a sculpture unlike anything else. It rises proudly from the earth, a driftwood and metal fusion totem, full of movement, texture, and color. It looks as if it was born from the meeting of two worlds, nature and forgotten scraps of human craft. The pieces that make up the totem each carry their own story. The driftwood was collected along a quiet riverside, smooth, weathered pieces shaped by water and time. The metal parts came from old tools, broken decorations, and scraps that once seemed useless. But in the hands of someone with imagination, everything found new life. Curved metal coils were fitted between wooden knots. Flat metal plates nestled against driftwood curves, creating contrast between rough warmth and cool shine. Once assembled, the totem looked like a vertical dance, lines bending, shapes twisting, wood and metal embracing each other. But what brought it fully alive were the colors. Bright summer paints were brushed in bold strokes, turquoise like river water, sunflower yellow like morning light, coral pink like a warm sunset, mint green like young herbs. The colors didn't mask the materials, they celebrated them, highlighting their unique textures. During the day, the totem glows under the sun. Each painted surface catches light differently, some shining brightly, others absorbing warmth into the grain. Bees and butterflies often circle it, as if mistaking it for an oversized flower. Children love touching the metal spirals, tracing their fingers along the curves. Gardeners admire how the sculpture breathes life into empty corners. But it is at golden hour when the totem becomes truly magical. The light softens, turning the bright colors into rich, warm shades. Shadows from flowers dance across its surface, and the metal parts reflect thin slivers of orange and pink light. In that quiet time of day, the sculpture feels like a guardian of creativity, a reminder that beauty can be built from anything, especially when the heart chooses to see potential rather than waste. The driftwood and metal fusion totem stands as a symbol of transformation, resilience, and joyful expression. A celebration of upcycling. A burst of summer energy. A piece of art born from imagination and reclaimed materials, shining proudly in the embrace of the garden.